Hello, everybody. It's Marty the JavaScript Party. My buddy Rhett. She's been very quiet for the last 5 or 6 minutes before I started this show, but she likes to say hi. Is that how you say hi? Okay, that's a lot better. That's a lot better, Rhett. I like kisses more than screeches. Yeah, that was a good one. You did so good. Yeah. Oh, I'm proud of you. Yeah. Anyways, so I'm working on this Say Hello project. Let's see, oh, we haven't even tried to start anything, so this is not even, this is from the previous video. And I only work on it 1 day a week. And so I don't even remember what we were working on last week. But I did create some issues for me. So I started doing this in one of my personal projects, or my personal project, this is a personal project, but in one of the projects that I do off camera. And I kind of like it, setting up these issues, because then it's like, and I work on that one every day. And, and every night when I work on it, me and my wife watch Netflix every night from like around 7 o'clock till 9 o'clock. That's like our thing. Man, I hope Netflix is talk about buying Time Warner, and man, I hope that doesn't happen, because I'm pretty sure they're gonna try to use all their Time Warner stuff, and we won't get like Squid Games and all that stuff anymore. And I really do enjoy a lot of the international stuff on Netflix, just because I just like seeing how other cultures are. But anyways, looks like we create our first Cypress test that just checks if the application is running, and add Cypress. So this is add Cypress is number one. So let's see. I have a folder called Cypress, and I guess we do have. It looks like we already have an Angular project for this, because we already have an Angular JSON. So let's go ahead and do that. Say Hello UI is the name of this folder, and npm start. So this is going to be kind of that's kind of useful. It says, oh, this is the Say Hello UI package, and you can see that we have Angular 21 built into this, and then we have a Cypress folder which does have a package. So I did create it, but we have not installed Cypress yet. I believe all I have to do to install Cypress is say npm and go into this folder and say npm install Cypress. And I think generally it's suggested to put a -dev. The biggest reason I remember this is because I helped our QA guy where I work get Cypress set up on his machine earlier, I think on Monday last week. And then I think on Sunday I installed Cypress for my flashcard program. So yeah, so here is our default Angular app, and it's congratulating me. It has this little thing. My boss's boss loves to use that one. I love seeing it, because I've had nothing but really, really good experiences with my boss's boss, and he always puts that on there, so that I've got a very positive feel for that. So npm install Cypress. I think it's -dev. Oh, -save dev. Wow, that is so helpful. God, man, it's just crazy how much better things get all the time. But it's just so bizarre that as the technology gets better, we screw it up worse. Um, it's just like I don't know, like those early flying videos where they just made different flying machines and they just crash. It's like, oh, now I can get up 100 feet, and it's just like, oh my god, you can fall 10 stories now. But anyway, so I'm going to install Cypress. And this should take a while, so I guess I will have some time to ramble. It is very, very important that you learn how to cope with this, because it is really hard. Your brain is going 1,000 miles an hour when you're trying to build stuff and you're trying to code, and then you have to wait. You're trying to install something, you're trying to build something, sometimes you're trying to compile things, start things, launch things, and it just takes a while. And the problem is if you, it sometimes, like, for a lot of people, most people, at least especially when they first start, it takes a while to get your brain into the right mode for coding. And so if you have to do these stops all the time, I actually worked at one place, and they paid a lot of money. They paid a lot of money. It was a very, very good situation. It was completely remote and all that, but their computer, oh, it's installed. Is it installed? Oh, am I looking at the right one? Oh my gosh, I just really messed up. Because I did not do that inside of Cypress. I did that at the top. Now, this is one of the nice things about being in your own branch and all that stuff, is I can just be like, yeah, undo this, just discard that change completely, and discard this change. Now, to be clear, we have a whole bunch of stuff in our node modules folder that doesn't belong there now. And I don't think we have anything installed. We had the CLI, the Angular CLI. So we're in a bit of an awkward situation in that we have a bunch of stuff in our node modules that we don't need, but there's stuff in the node modules that we do need. I'm just going to leave it and cd Cypress. I don't really like deleting stuff out of my node modules because it can just, especially like on a corporate machine, it can just take hours to actually delete things manually, because they have code to make sure that you don't maliciously destroy stuff. Now let's do that same thing again, but now we're in the Cypress folder. This is a problem that I haven't had in other projects because I normally do everything in this same folder. But now we're going to install Cypress again. But yeah, so this job was awesome, right? It paid tons of money, and I got to work from home, and it was perfect. Like there's a new node modules folder there, so that's a good sign. Paid lots of money. I got to work from home. It was all D3 visualizations and other types of visualizations, and it was important work. It was super important, very patriotic job and all that, but it was so hard because literally a transpile, an Angular transpile would take 20 minutes. And so as you see, we have our package. Now we have this here, but we want to open it, and I cannot remember how to open. I think it's ChatGPT. And to me, it's very important to when you do open things and stuff like that, to do it out of a script in your packages file, because that ensures that it's using all the correct the libraries from this node modules, not like a global install or something like that. Let's see. npm commands for Cypress. So we're going to say, okay, I don't even want this test one anymore. Let's just say, I believe there's also a run, because I have that as well. npx Cypress. Open. I believe what npx will do is it'll run it even if it's not installed in your in your node modules, which I don't really understand how that works, but you know, you can only stop and figure out. So I'm going to say npm run Cypress open. I feel like I should make it open Cypress, but everything else I've done has Cypress does the name of the program first and then the command I want. Okay, so we're going to run this and wait for Cypress to pop up. But anyways, yeah, so it would take, like when you would make one change in Angular, it would take it, because that computer was so secure. Like it was so secure we had to have a special card to open it. And it would take like 3 to 5 minutes for any time you made a change in Angular for I'm just gonna hit continue. So this is things just telling me that they added these things. So like we see that we have a new folder up here called Cypress, and it's got this stuff on that. And that's like one of the cool things about this Cypress organization is that they just tell you. They pretty much tell you everything. They really empower you to understand what's going on. Now, for some people, that's kind of a downer. You know, they don't want to have to understand anything. They would like to just, you know, point and click and everything work. And I'm not criticizing that because, you know, like I said, you can't really know everything. But I, as a developer, I really like being empowered like that. All right, so now it's running. So now if I hit this, it'll actually bring up the list of tests that I already had, that I already have. I haven't built any tests, but it built them. It built a test for me, some tests for me. Or I guess it didn't build a test for me. But I guess, yeah, so you can click this button. Oh, interesting. Use spec pattern. I've never noticed that before. That was not what I thought it was going to be. It's pretty cool. But I guess you can change what it's looking for testing, for script names. So like if you had, I guess if you had multiple projects, you could have CY, what is this thing called? SH for say hello. And then you could have CY FB for flashcard builder and all that. So don't need that because this is only a one and done thing. I want the name of this thing to be like exists. And I think I want this always to show up at the beginning, and I'm assuming I'll never have more than 1,000 scripts. Might be a bad assumption, but I don't think we're gonna get to more than maybe 30 scripts probably in this application. Great spec. So I've done this probably 5 or 6 times. So now, oh, that's kind of cool. I didn't even notice you can change this now. So, I guess it's only fair. Okay, so I could change, apparently I can change this. No, okay, I can't change it. So if I run the script, it'll take me to their website, which I'm sure is very useful to them. So it always takes it a little bit of time that first time. But yeah, so it takes like 3 to 5 minutes for this freaking project to compile. So that means if you change one line of code, hit save, then you had 3 to 5 minutes to sit there and just stare at the wall. And then it would come up, you could see your change. And so I kind of got to where, I'd write like a couple hundred lines of code for every time before I hit save because, that's a very difficult way to flow. And then the biggest problem, so I went to their website, examplecypress.io. So what we can do now is I'm going to change this to be here, like this size. I'm going to move, let's see. There we go. I think that's a good size. And I'm going to go into my into here. But anyway, so I ended up quitting that job mostly because I couldn't really get along with the party that was between us and them. Like basically, it was like the federal government, and then a contract company, and then another contract company, and then my wife's business, and then me. Right, so it was going through all those people. The contract, third party contract company was taking a ton of money, and they were complete jerks. I mean, every time I dealt with them, they were just jerks. They were very difficult to get along with. So that was the main reason I quit. But boy, was I glad to be away from that. Save, compile, 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 compile. Wait. So, anyways, so that is how that happened. Or I don't know. So that was something that happened. And I'm telling you, you really need that ability that I just showed. That ability to come in, work, do stuff, and then think about something else, talk about something else, do something else, and then as soon as it's available, get right back to it. That's it. No, wrong one. What is going on here? I'm having a hard time finding the Cypress. There you go. You are. So as you see now, it passed and it went into my say hello. So that is Cypress installed in the real world. Let's see. Let's go ahead and go back to our GitHub. Add Cypress and create. So that was 1 and 2. So those are both done. So next step is to kill this. And then I don't think there's anything we don't want to yeah, so all of that looks good. I guess we should at the very least click in there and make sure that there's just nothing nefarious in there or and that. All right. So let's do a git add so we can stage everything. This is one of my hangups that I complain about forever, ever in a day I've been complaining about. I think I just complain about it regularly so I don't forget it because it's so easy to forget that git add stages things. And now I'm going to git commit message, git commit, and then -m for message. And I'm going to say issues 1, and I think I could put an and. Maybe not. Never do. 1 and 2 adds Cypress and a test. Alright, so now we are doing, we're going to do our commit, and then we're going to do git push, and then, so now we're going to push it, and so now we're going to go back to GitHub, and we're going to, these are both assigned to me, right? Yep, so that's one. And then let's go back to issues. And yeah, this is assigned. It doesn't have a branch. I usually have a branch for all my issues, but since they're combined, we're going to do that. So now what we can do is we can go to code, and typically it'll tell me, hey, you just updated the branch. 41 seconds. It's only been 41 seconds. And then we're going to do create a pull request. And so what I again, another word that just makes no sense. Like, I'm asking to pull the code into the main branch. It's weird. And the fact that we named it pull request, so when you say PR, some people think that it's a peer review, but it's actually a pull request. So it will, if you only have one commit, it will, and it's short, it will add it as the title. and I feel like that's good enough. Most places have some sort of like template that you're supposed to use and fill out, and it's usually a real pain in the butt. Um, but you know, it describes everything, how to test it, all kinds of stuff. I am not doing that. You can see the actual changes down here, and you can even make a comment. I believe, maybe, maybe not quite yet because I haven't created it. Okay, so I'm going to create my pull request. Now I think it's automatically associated. So I'm assigning myself to the pull request there. I believe it's automatically associated with that first issue. I don't know where that association happens. Yeah, because what will happen is once I do this, it will actually do that. It'll actually say that, but I can look at my commits, and it'll show my commit, and I can click in there. It'll actually show the changes that happened in this commit. You can also look at it in this view, which looks very similar, especially because there's only one commit. But at this point, I could actually come in here and make a comment. I could be like, dude, this is the most important comment ever. Right? So I can make a comment, and then I could hit this, or I could add I don't know what this starter review is. I can add a single comment. And then I don't believe you can merge it as long as that comment hasn't been marked as resolved. So that's how that works, just in case you were wondering. All right, so, and then I believe any comments will show up in this conversations tab. And then that will have a link to where the comment was, and that's all good. But anyways, I am just going to merge it. So basically what will happen, and it'll be like, hey, it told me that I didn't have any conflicts, so I didn't make any changes that were also already changed. Yeah. So conflicts is probably like one of the very most difficult things to deal with in software development, and it does not scale well.
Wow.
Conflicts are brutal. So this comment will be authored by. So I guess I don't know if you can change that, but anyways, so there's that. I'm trying to figure out if I can associate it with that other issue, and I don't know. So I'm just going to confirm the merge. It's merged now. It'll ask, I believe, yeah, it asked me if I want to delete the branch. I don't want to keep that branch around. I don't know. I guess branches get very confusing when there's a ton of them. So now we go to the issues. I think it'll drop to 1. Yeah, but this one is also done. So I'm just gonna say completed. Along in the same branch as issue 1. I don't really have a lot of experience of being on the consuming side of this kind of thing. I do know that generally organizations are they don't really like this. You know, they like to be able to tie directly, like their tools, I think, will tie these things directly, and it can make things helpful for them to do that. But you know, I combined them into one, and then I'll want to close the issue. All right, so that's done. Our first 2 issues are done, I think. If I hit refresh, okay, yeah, it's gone. All right, so next Saturday, I guess I want to remove the default code, set up some title text, and make sure the update the unit test, because the unit test will start failing once I remove the default, and then add a test to search for the title, a Cypress test. So that will be one. So three things. One, and it's like remove default Angular code from UI. Remove default. I'm just gonna say default, comma, add a title, fix unit tests. So 4 things, and new Cypress test. 4 things. Now, probably not a good idea to do this in general, but we're right at the beginning, and it's just like, I don't want to make a separate issue for each of these. And I think it makes sense, just based on that last experience where we ended up creating 2 separate issues, and now one of the issues doesn't have a branch associated with it. So 1, okay, Angular provided default code. So that needs default code, comma, please remove. Right. And then 2, we want to fix or ensure or validate that the unit tests are still working, are execute pass. Yeah. 3, add a title. So we'll probably end up doing them 1 and 3, and 4. Add a Cypress, an ETE test that checks the title. So those are the 4 things we're going to do next Saturday, hopefully. Hopefully we can get all 4 done. And would you like that? And basically I'm going to assign it to myself, and I'm going to create a branch. And I'm going to check it out locally, so I push this button and then hit this button, and it'll copy it to my clipboard. I've done this so many times. And then I'm going to go cd ... so that I'm in the right folder. I'm going to hit Control V and enter. And your mileage may vary. So as you can see, our graph, 3JS graph shows here where we added 1 thing. So this is a graph of everything that was done. So say hello, first say hello commit, and then we did a basic directory structure, removed Angular because CLI will do that, and then we added the UI application, and then we did issue 1 and 2, and then we merged it, and now we are checked out on 4 things removed. And then you could also type git status, and it will show what branch you're in. On branch 4 things, or you can, I believe you can say git branch, and it shows all the branches that are currently on this machine. So we have 1 and then 4 things to remember. So I regret I should have said issue 3, because I believe this is issue 3. It may not be. It might be issue 4. I should have said the issue name in the branch. Oh. Interesting. For some reason, I think in my other one, I must just manually type in issue 4 in here. Oh, and then when you do that, it generates the, yeah, so I kind of messed up. So normally what I like to do is write the issue number down. But I don't even know. Like, because I know, like, it skipped 3. I don't know why it skipped number 3. But, and then we can see our closed issues here. So, anyways, next week I will not remember what we're working on because, you know, it's like a whole week's going to go by. And then I'm going to come into GitHub. I'm going to go to my Say Hello issues and I'm going to see that I have this. I will also see this. I do wish I had the issue number in there in this. And I guess I could still do that. It's not going to do what I want it to do exactly because... so this is issue edit. This is issue 3, right? No, issue 4. That is, it's issue 4, right? Issue number 4. So click on that. Edit. 4. I found that in my personal experience, what happens is when you add little things like this, it really helps everybody down the line from you, and it really helps to have that like in the name of the branch, and it really helps to sort of try to get all of these into a single commit if at all possible, you know, and have small cherry pickable commits. Every place has sort of a different way of moving code through the various things, and generally it's driven by the domain. Like they kind of do things the way that things work in that domain, or by like the way that the code is delivered. So like I once worked at a place that did like help centers, and like when their customers bought the service, what would happen is they would buy certain pieces of the service, and you know, the way it was delivered is they would cherry pick different pieces of different commits. So they would smush all their like features into a single commit, and then when they were like, oh, okay, this guy's going to get, I don't know, 10 different features, okay, get those 10 commits, and that's how they did it, you know. But then I've worked at other places that like it was like branches, like everything was in branches, and then they would merge their branches, and then so sometimes you work on a shared resource that a lot of different leaders control, and then that's when you'll end up with like a single like development branch type of thing, and then or a like a branch that just kind of has everything. It's like the kitchen sink sort of branch, and then once it gets approved, it'll move from one stage to the next, and then once it gets approved at each stage, that moves through, and eventually everything in the kitchen sink will end up at the production site, but like the rate at which things move through will be different. And then when I worked for CNN, we had like hundreds of developers all around the world, and so what would happen is a whole bunch of different branches would sort of get folded in. They do like sort of one big deployment like once a month, and like they had continuous deployments for like emergency type things and all that, but like for feature releases, they would gather up all like maybe they would mark maybe 100 branches from all over the world for like release in 30 days. And so what every branch got a QA and a developer and all that, and what would happen is the QA would QA your branch, and then once they passed it, then it would get registered for like deployment in like 30 days. And then it would get mixed in with all the other branches, and then all hell would break loose, right? Because you just literally merged hundreds of branches into one big mess. And so then there would be like a freaking war, where we would just fight and explain why our no, it's not my branch. This is or that branch is doing this. Blah 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 blah. Then a bunch of branches would get rejected. So now you're down from 100 branches, let's say, to like 40 branches. Like the majority would, like usually when your stuff got, if especially if it's significant at all, when your stuff got folded in, usually what would happen is your branch would get, it's probably more than 50% chance that your branch would then get rejected. And a lot of times it was nothing to do with you. Like it was just like, oh, they changed something so dramatically in some other branch that your stuff is completely broken. You need to get your stuff working against the latest thing, and maybe next month you can get you can go in again. But like, so if it did make it in, then what would happen is it would start to get really tested for like 3 weeks, and that 3 weeks you would have to fix things and keep deploying your stuff, and your stuff would get retested. And if it was still there at the end of 3 weeks, then it would go into another branch that had like everything. It was a full-blown application that used the exact same data as the CNN application, right? So basically you had a CNN website, and then you had this other website that used all the exact same stuff. And then if it survived that, once it got there, it was going. But no one got to go till everything was fixed. So the pressure was on, because it was like, in 7 days we are deploying this. Wow. You better not have any bugs at all. And if you have a bug, it has to be fixed like instantly. And so if you need to stay up all night, you need to stay up all night. Whatever you need to do to get this thing. It wasn't always like that. Just like if you happen to have something that was a week away from deployment, and then it would go to production. And oh my God, I would say 4 or 5 times it would be broken in production. And so then it would be like, oh my God, this has to get fixed. And basically everybody on the team drops everything they're doing to try to fix your bug. And it was just like and honestly, like VPs and stuff are sitting in your little cubicle area, because it was like freaking, it had to be fixed. And normally it was not my fault. Like the code was fine. It's just like even though like we had another version of CNN that was pointed to the exact same stuff, and whatever was broken didn't show up as broken, but then it went out there and it was broken. It was, because there are always some slight things. But anyways, all that to say, adding like little piece of information like this makes those other things go a lot smoother, and then makes your chances of getting things into production way up, especially in those big super enterprisey environments. So anyways, that's it for me today. That was we're moving nicely in the Say Hello project, and tomorrow we'll work on the flashcard builder, and it's a very similar thing. I think we're in about the same spot. I don't think I created a script last week. I think I installed Cypress, if I remember correctly. It's all coming back to me now. And I think the issue is that we're going to work on next will be getting the Cypress working, and then this is probably the next thing that will be done. So hopefully I can get the single Cypress test working, and this issue done for the flashcard builder tomorrow. Happy coding, everybody. Bye.